A doubleheader of action tonight in the WNBA. Only two games and both start at 10 p.m. Eastern Time as they are out on the West Coast. Oh, no. Go ahead.
Yeah,
WNBA Commissioner Donnie Rightside, floor is yours.
Hold on now. Now, hold on. Like, because, I mean, it really slipped by us here when I was getting to read about what was taking place in soccer. Both games at 9 o'clock. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. But we're not playing this like the Copa America in like Argentina, Brazil, where you're trying to somewhat cater to their time zone or whatever they want. Like the USA is hosting this and Team USA is playing at 9 o'clock. Like, I don't understand that. And then you just told me we're taking a look at two WNBA games where we have three Major League Baseball games where you can put those games on at 7 o'clock or earlier. And by the way, 10 o'clock and 10 o'clock, like a lot of people will be watching soccer here. But if you would have had everything to yourself at 7 o'clock, what are we doing here, Ben? Like, I've seen WNBA games at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You can't put one of those games at 7 p.m. on national TV and people are like, wow, I really like to watch this. This is quite fun. Instead, you bury them at 10 o'clock and then you bury soccer at 9 o'clock. Do we honestly hate ratings? I guess the lower the ratings, the more money you make is the way to do it now these days.
It is 7 p.m. Pacific, right? Local time, both in Phoenix and in Seattle. Pretty sure the Mercury in Phoenix right now with daylight savings is 3 hours behind in the Eastern time zone at this moment. Could you have started those games earlier in their local time zones? Maybe so, to get a better WNBA viewership draw in what has been a historic first month and a half or so of this WNBA season. I digress, though. I'm not the commissioner. Neither is Donnie Rightside. So we start with a game between the Sun and the Mercury. Out in Phoenix yesterday, the Mercury at home is a 7.5-point favorite against the Fever, lose by 6. Phoenix still playing pretty good basketball, though, as of late, especially with the return of Brittany Griner. It's just a 3-point spread in favor of the Sun on the road tonight in one of my favorite areas to always look for a Connecticut game. 158.5, a low total with the best defensive team in the sport.
Yeah, by the way, and nothing short of sensation here. Brittany Griner, since coming back here from being injured, I mean, you take a look at the points per game per season, right around 20 points, rebounds per game 7, assists per game 2. She's been really good, but also you're sort of jockeying for position as you go along. What is it, 12 teams in the WNBA, 8 teams make the playoffs. So even though you see the Mercury at 9-9, if the season ended today, they would be in. And certainly I do think they're getting better, even though taking a loss yesterday there to the Fever certainly doesn't help out the kind, but we'll see what happens tonight. And the analysis for me, very upsetting because it's a 10 o'clock game, so I can't have analysis on this, Ben, and then figure I'm going to be able to watch it through and see how it turns out. Tough scene. Yeah.
Listen, I'm sorry for you as well. Connecticut, one of 3 teams in the WNBA that have at least 14 wins. The Liberty 16-3, Connecticut 14-4, the Minnesota Lynx 14-4 in the regular season record. Indiana yesterday with the victory over Phoenix had completed its 20th game of the year. The Fever now in the 8th spot at 8-12. Of course, 8 teams make it to the WNBA postseason out of this 12-team league. So we're almost at the halfway point. We're just about 2 weeks away from the Olympic break this summer as they will go play for their respective countries over in Paris. So this is an important time in this WNBA regular season. I like to look for Connecticut tonight, back-to-back for Phoenix. I would expect the game to stay under. And also, yesterday, not the best from one of the best scorers in the W, and for Phoenix, Kalia Copper for the Mercury. Only 7 points yesterday. Her points prop today, 19.5. The odds makers expecting a bounce back. So do I. So the other game of the doubleheader out in the Northwest, the Seattle Storm, an 11.5-point favorite against the Dallas Wings. For most of the year, DRS, we looked at the Washington Mystics as the WNBA's worst team. They were 0-12 to start the year. They're still not great, but they've won 4 of their last 7, now 4-14. There are 3 teams in the W with just 4 wins. The Sticks, as we just shared, the LA Sparks without Cameron Brink. Things have been a tough go to begin this season. And the Dallas Wings at 4-14 as well, and Dallas has dropped 9 of its last 10. It's why we see the double-digit spread in favor, of the Storm tonight in Seattle.
Yeah, certainly leaking oil, no doubt about it. And yes, a heavy favorite on the edge of that. And also, you're taking a look at parity in the WNBA. There is a bit of it there, but still, if you're going to be pulling up the rear with 4 wins in the WNBA, you're not going to make it into the top 8 here. And certainly, you're taking a look at a game against the Storm tonight with a favorite close to, I mean, who knows, by the time game time hits at 10 o'clock, approaching maybe 2 touchdowns here. Should be an easy victory for the Storm tonight. And 4-15, not a great look here for the Wings.
Yeah, not at all. Arike Ogunbowale is there for Dallas. Always keep an eye on her 3-point props, on her points props. She was, through the first 15 games or so of this WNBA season, the league's leading scorer. Now, that is A'ja Wilson. Last year, the league's leading scorer, Drew Lloyd, for Seattle, starts to look the billing as of late. 34-30 in back-to-back games for Seattle. The Storm have won 3 in a row. Seattle now this year, 12-6. Donnie, when we looked at the early offseason odds entering the WNBA campaign on opening night, it was still the battle of the two teams that faced off last year in that WNBA Finals series. That would be the Aces, who won back-to-back titles, and the New York Liberty. 1 and 2, short in comparison to everybody else. Seattle was the team with the third best price to win the WNBA championship, and they got off to a slow start this year at 1-3. From that point, they've gone 11-3. They are playing really good basketball. They are one of 5 teams in the WNBA with double-digit wins and the 4th best record. And despite having the 5th best price now at 10-1, still expected to be a contender. It is why Seattle is a double-digit favorite tonight.
Yeah, and absolutely there. And if you take a look at those odds as they're shaping up, let's just say the top 6 teams. I include the 6 because I do think the Phoenix Mercury are at 9-9, much better than what their record says they are, because they do have some superstar talent to play with. So you take a look at the Aces, the Storm, the Lynx, the Sun, and the Liberty, certainly those upper echelon teams. And also, if you're looking for fun, if the season ended today, you do have the Indiana Fever in, but wouldn't it be nice if somehow the Chicago Sky can also sneak into the playoffs? But then again, they only have 6 wins, so they would have to jump the 8-win Fever, the 7-win Dream to try to make that happen. I don't know if they will, but it looks like the way things are shaping up, we probably will get at least one of those teams, Ben, being the Dream, or excuse me, being the Fever and the Sky that are going to make the playoffs here. So at least we get one of those true young superstar talents here at that rookie level.
And listen, Indiana has really found their footing. Already 20 games into this year. Of course, it was the 11-game and 20-day stretch run that was a sprint to start off this WNBA season. Indiana was 2-9, often placed in marquee matchups against the Sun, the Liberty, the Aces to begin to put Caitlin Clark on that national stage. And it was a struggle. From that point, including the upset yesterday in Phoenix, Indiana has won 6 of its last 9 games, and currently, with that 8-12 record, 8th best in the WNBA, and minus 215 to make the WNBA playoffs. And there is always going to be the look at the Rookie of the Year odds. The number has shortened on Caitlin Clark, but is still in heavy minus money at minus 600. I don't think we need to directly compare at all points. We can celebrate both who have had incredibly successful and historic WNBA rookie years, that being Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. But you still look at Caitlin as that hefty odds-on favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Something drastic would have to happen in her performance in this year, in Indiana's outlook, for Clark not to win the Rookie of the Year award.
And the interesting part about it, too, is, again, it's sometimes the betting markets are going to fluctuate just based on the amount of money that's being placed, let's just say, at the beginning of the season on Caitlin Clark, because you're not saying to yourself, well, yeah, Caitlin Clark's putting up numbers and some historic things. Angel Reese is doing the exact same thing in the double-doubles market here. So it's not as if it's like a charity case where plus 4-1, she's interesting, so we'll just keep her up there. She's played extremely well here for the Chicago Sky, but also, I always talk about, Ben, those extracurriculars. If you do have the Indiana Fever with a better record and make it into the playoffs here as a rookie guard here for Caitlin Clark, you're going to get that added bump on top of the Chicago Sky, who have Angel Reese and maybe missing the playoffs. But each one of those, it's deserving of a rookie of the award, but I think I give it to Caitlin Clark.